fellow travelers, welcome. Today I wanted to talk to you about a technique that's based on NLP that can help you stop smoking, that can help you stop eating things that aren't helpful or for your best and highest good. Now, smoking, obviously, it's super easy to understand why we don't want to smoke, and especially with a virus going around that can be detrimental to our lungs. We want to have the best and healthiest lungs we possibly can. However, sometimes a food, you might be like, but some of us have addictions to food, which can be just as problematic as addiction to cigarettes or alcohol or drugs. Now, this is not something that if you are a heroin addict or a meth addict, that is probably going to be doing the same thing for you, because that goes a little deeper. This is something to help you, a little technique to help you. Now, this is not going to solve the problem of addiction, by the way, because addiction is a multi-layer, a multi-pronged thing. This is like chopping the head off the weed. This is to get you to stop. However, once you stop, the work's not done. The work on addiction, whether it be eating too much or smoking or drinking, that has deeper layers to it. So this can be helpful. This technique can help us stop this and use other techniques to help us look deeper into the addiction. Now, addictions, a lot of people are like, addictions can be a blessing. Anything can be a blessing. Anything that happens to us, even things that we think are horrible, can be a blessing if we look at it as such. Now, besides this technique, especially for smoking, the eating part, it should solve, when you work on specific foods, this should solve that problem if you do it correctly. Now, with smoking, this might not solve the problem because some people are so addicted to nicotine and to the different additives they put in cigarettes that it's, like I said, it's a multi-layered thing. Addiction to cigarettes is actually harder to kick than a lot of other things. If you've ever been to an AA meeting or any type of recovery meeting, generally there's a lot of smoking outside, there's a lot of coffee, and there's a lot of donuts or cakes or different sugary things like that. So cigarettes amp us up. Nicotine amps us up. And it also, most of the problems, again, with smoking is not necessarily the tobacco. It's what they put into tobacco. And some tobacco companies, some cigarette companies will list some of the additives they have, and some of them will not. But usually one of the things that's the biggest problem with cigarettes is not just the nicotine, it is the sugar. A lot of times the practice of soaking the leaves in sugar and sugar water. Now, sugar's super addicting. So this is why this technique can help us with, say, cookies, cakes, candies, whatever your deal might be. Now, what you're going to want to do when you do this, and I'm not going to actually put you into the state where we do the technique. I'm going to run through the technique, tell you how to do the technique. You can watch this several times if you need to. You can take notes. But the very first thing you need to do when you're doing this is you need to think about the thing that you want to give up. Now, if it's not something as simple as cigarettes or cigars or that sort of thing, if it's a specific food, I suggest that you get specific on the food, not just cakes and cookies or, gluten or whatever it might be, but get specific and do one thing at a time when it comes to cakes, cookies, candies, whatever, if it's a food type thing. You can't just get rid of all your eating issues. You need to focus on one thing at a time and go through this. And once you've gone through it once or twice, usually for food, it only takes one time if you do it right. With the smoking, it might take you a few times. It kind of just depends. So the very first thing is you want to write down the thing that you want to stop doing, whether it be eating something or smoking. Drinking, this could work a little bit for too. Drinking is a little bit deeper, and the same with harder drugs is a little deeper than cigarettes. So you can write down the thing that you want to stop, and then write down something that you absolutely hate the smell of, you hate the taste of. For me, it's always mayonnaise or Miracle Whip, either one. But for you, you might not have something that makes you feel that intensely about a food substance. So if you can't, think about dog poop or human poop or any kind of animal. Anything that grosses you out. It could be pus, it could be, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be graphic, but you have to be that grossed out by it, or blood, or, whatever the thing that grosses you out. Now, for instance, the other thing is, okay, so once we get, you have the thing that you want to get rid of, and you have the thing that you got to think about smelling this thing and putting it in your mouth. It could be dirty socks. It could be, anything that just makes you go, ooh. But it really has to make you go, ooh, and almost to the verge of, if you thought about putting this in your mouth, you would vomit. So you want it that intense, because this technique works off of feelings. This works off sensations. So you want to, again, think about the thing you want and think about the thing you don't want. And you want to have an idea in your head of the smell, the taste, Now, the other thing that you can do too is, I want you to write down sounds that really annoy you. So, or music that really annoys you. I want you to think about spaces that really annoy you. Like, some of us are a little bit claustrophobic. So if you were stuck in a really tight place, that might make you feel uncomfortable. If you're bothered by heat, bothered by cold, think of all the things that really get to you, that make you really super uncomfortable, that would make you either freak out or throw up or really just feel icky, that would make you not want to have this experience again. Now, once you have those things listed, now don't give yourself a panic attack or completely, totally have a breakdown. But I mean, get some ideas of things like, if a room that would make you, and we'll talk about this. And okay, so what I want you to do, the first thing you'll do is you will imagine yourself smoking or eating the thing that you want, and, have all your senses working at this point. So you're going to imagine yourself in the best place that you enjoy doing this. The place that if you're sitting at the table, if you're smoking, is it after you've eaten? Or you're sitting at a club, whatever it is, something that you really enjoy. And then you'll have the colors, you'll have the senses. So that's the thing, is you'll get this picture of you doing that thing, either eating it, smoking, whatever. And you'll have it in full color, all your senses working. And then what I want you to start doing is bring up that scene again and start draining the color. Make the color very unappealing. You can even, like how, if you grew up with TVs, that you could control different parts of the TV. You could have it be fuzzy and staticky. You can have it be wavy lines, anything that annoys you. So drain that color, drain the smell, drain the sounds, drain all these things, all the senses, the touch, the taste, the things that you enjoy about doing this. And again, like I said, it might be in a situation, you might love birthday cake, or so you're used to having it when people sing and this and that, or, whatever the situation might be. And the same with smoking. There might be certain times when you enjoy a cigarette more than any other time. So again, take that, give your full senses and remove every sense from it. Then I want you to bring up the thing that you don't like. And I want you to put yourself in a really uncomfortable room. For me, it'd be a really small room. And the room would be really hot. And there would be music playing that I don't like. And it would be really loud. And there'd be screechy sounds and like nails on chalkboard and my dog's whining, or, the things that really annoy me. Like when I go into a store and it's really super hot, you won't get me staying very long. If I'm overheated, I'm not a happy camper. Imagine yourself wearing something itchy. You know, if you're allergic to wool or something, make yourself as super uncomfortable. Use all your senses. Make yourself as uncomfortable as possible. And then imagine the food or the cigarette with that, replace it with that taste of like mayonnaise or Miracle Whip. And unless you like mayonnaise or Miracle Whip, then don't do that. But, or poop or whatever it is. And imagine yourself having to eat it. Get to the point of you can taste, you have that, you know, that right before you throw up, that mouth watering thing that happens. Get to that point. Don't throw up. I mean, it might work if you throw up, but generally we don't want to be so unpleasant. But get yourself to that place and then let that go. And then go back to the other scene, and again with that gray, icky, and then keep switching it back and forth until you get that icky, that bad room, that all the senses, the more that you incorporate all your senses, the better that this will work. So really just until you replace that, until anytime you go to light up a cigarette, anytime you go to put a cigarette in your mouth, you gag. When you go to reach for that food, you just don't even want to. Like you go to reach for that box of whatever it is or the Pringles can and you're just like, yeah, you've done it. So it's with NLP and with hypnosis, the more sounds, the more all of our senses that we can incorporate, the more time we spend on this, the better this will work. Now, for the smokers out there, now, smoking is not that simple. So there's a lot of times, so we kind of ran through that technique. So now I'm going to talk to the smokers, and you can listen to if you're an overeater or whatever that you have that you were trying to get rid of. Now, for the smokers out there, the universe does not like a vacuum. So when we give up smoking, there is going to be a vacuum. Now, you could do the patch, you could do the gum, you could chew gum, you could eat candies. There's a bunch of different things that people change one for the other. However, let's not bring ourselves into another bad habit. Because I know people who are still 10 years later sucking on lozenges or chewing the gum. And anytime they're around their family or they get a chance that they're away from home, they'll sneak a cigarette. And there's things like Chantix and different things, but there's negatives to those. I had a friend who was telling me she wanted to quit because to be able to have a knee surgery, she had to quit smoking. Now, the choice was to take Chantix, but she was reading through all the things that Chantix can do to you, and it almost sounds worse than smoking, to be honest. And so she was scared of those things. So if we could stop smoking, if this technique helps you stop smoking, let's not go to the e-cigarette. I mean, yes, it's a better choice. However, let's go with even better choices. Now, one of the things that I have this for a different reason than quitting smoking, but one of the things that you can get is a salt inhaler, a Himalayan salt inhaler. Now, what it is, it has holes in the bottom, and it has something to suck through on the top, and it has a little stopper. And you open this little stopper and you fill it about halfway up with pink Himalaya salt. And so you suck on it, you inhale, you exhale. Now, this is good for if you have lung issues. This is good if you have sinus issues, that sort of thing. And this could be good for if you do quit and you're not having problems with the quitting, you just want to clean out the ickies that come up from when we quit smoking. So this could be a really good option because this doesn't do anything negative to you. This also helps reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and again, it helps with allergies, it helps with sinus stuff. It can help really clean out your lungs and help you out on that respect because sometimes it takes a while for people to feel normal when they quit smoking. And everybody's different. And if you can stop from the jittery, because the withdrawals, for some people it can be hard. It doesn't have to be. We can do all sorts of stuff. You can do affirmations, you can do breathing. So the other thing that you can do when you feel like having a cigarette is a breathing technique. And this breathing technique, normally you want to use your right hand. I'm going to be using my left because the microphone's attached to my right side, so I don't want to be making weird sounds. But you're going to take your Actually, I can't do it left-handed. Okay, so good to know. So you're going to take your index and middle finger and put it right there on your forehead. You're going to take your thumb and you're going to block one nostril. You're going to inhale. You're going to close your mouth. Inhale through the nostril. And then block off the other nostril and exhale. And then you're going to inhale through the open nostril. Block it off. Exhale. So having the index and middle finger on your forehead, the ring finger and the pinky block one nostril, the thumb blocks the other. So you're going to block, inhale, block, lift that thumb, exhale, then again inhale through the thumb side, block, and exhale through the index and middle finger side. This helps calm us. This helps bring into balance the right and left side. So again, a lot of people say they smoke because it helps calm and soothe them, even though actually the real science behind nicotine and cigarettes is the opposite, but it gives people the feeling of calming down. So that breathing technique can help, besides the Himalayan pink salt inhaler, can give you that technique, or that can give you that feeling of calming yourself down. It also can make you feel a little energized too, depending on how you use it. Now, there's more advanced techniques where you hold it for a certain time, but just the alternating breathing in and out through the nose. And this one could be hard if your nose is stuffed up. But this is also good for the sinuses too, if you have sinus issues. So, which you might have, you might not notice them smoking. So those are two things that you can do when you have the urge for a cigarette. You could also do the 4-7-8 breath. I know I use the 4-7-8 breath all the time, but you inhale for 4, you hold for 7, and you exhale for 8. This will help calm us down. Like I said, I can do a few rounds of this and stop a panic attack. And I know for some people, when you quit smoking, it might be edgy. So breathing techniques can be super awesome, and having that extra energy. If you find yourself with fidgetiness, get a fidget spinner. Get something that you can do with your hands. Again, nature doesn't like a vacuum. So if you have start a new hobby, crochet, knit, it's something that you can do with your hands. Could be helpful. You can draw, you can write. A lot of times when we have an addiction of any sort, it keeps us from our feelings. It keeps us from really focusing on our feelings. So writing is a super excellent way. Write in a way that this is just for you. Nobody else is going to read it. You can be filling this journal up with cuss words and I hate everybody or whatever comes to your mind. That way you're not putting it out on everybody else around you. And the other reason a lot of people smoke is stress. And journaling is a great way to de-stress. You can start drawing, you can start painting, you can start, again, any type of craft. So YouTube has so many, I can't even believe how many channels that have all sorts of weird crafts. You can learn how to, do jewelry with stones, do stone settings. You can do all sorts of interesting things. So finding things that can replace. Try not to, again, go for the gum or the sugar or here's a chance to, because we want to build our lungs back up after quit smoking, finding a flute or something, you can get one of those little piccolos or a little kazoo, anything just to keep you from, if it's an oral fixation. Some people, smoking is an oral thing. And so again, this is not to say this is the end all be all. When we're trying to overcome an addiction, as many things as we can do is possible. And sometimes seeing a counselor or going to a hypnotherapist and actually having hypnotherapy sessions. There's also, again, a lot of stuff on YouTube that you can watch and listen to. You can listen to meditation, or actually I would say hypnosis. And again, when we do hypnosis or subliminals, it's a 21-day process. It's not you're cured. So even if you, just like antibiotics, even if you're feeling better, keep doing it, because we didn't start smoking. I used to smoke when I was younger. I smoked from 12 to 24. I had it very easy. I threw my pack out the window when I got tired of it. However, I was a super light smoker, And I could stop at times when I was around people who didn't smoke, or if I was dating someone who didn't smoke, or whatever the case might be. Now, I know there were some people that's like, I have a huge problem stopping smoking. Now, in my life, I've had other things that haven't been that easy to quit. I come from a family of addictive personalities. So there have been things that were much harder for me to kick. And I had to try everything in the book. And again, try as many things as you can. Get in touch with your feelings, because most of the times addictions really have to do with feelings and not wanting to feel the feelings, and having to do with trauma and having to do with things that we don't want to think about. And I don't want to give you things that are going to help give you a new addiction. That's why I'm suggesting here's some options that are healthy. Here's some options to build up and to fix certain things. And again, and you can do this with if you're an overeater too. The breathing is great. The inhaler might not be so wonderful for that, but it could be. It could give you something to do because it might be an oral thing. Also, the other thing is water. Drinking water when you feel like, whether it be eating when you aren't hungry and when you really don't need it, water, tea. There's some great teas out there that can help you. And especially if you're giving up sugar, or if you're giving up cigarettes, you want stuff to help detox you. There's all sorts of different teas out there that can help with the detoxing process. You want to make sure you look stuff up and you're safe, because not all teas and not all things are meant for people. Like, for instance, I have an allergy to both echinacea and chamomile. So I have to be really careful when I look at teas, and also when I look at homeopathic remedies for colds and that sort of things. That everybody puts echinacea in everything. So regardless of whatever your situation is, that's just a few techniques and tips to help you on your way. And if you have any techniques or tips, write them down in the comment section. I'd love to hear about it. If you've quit smoking yourself or overcome something, how did you do it? And I hope this finds you doing well. I hope this helps you somehow. And peace, love, namaste. Thank you, fellow travelers.